So I believe at the moment that my web API is still running over here. So when I start this app, it indeed will retrieve these settings from the server, which is fine for right now. I don't really care about too much more than that at the moment. We can change this to be my HTTP manager. Hey there, Mystics Hacker Baby. Thank you for that follow. Appreciate that. All the videos for a couple of ASP.NET projects are up at youtube.pixelhorrorstudios.com, so make sure you check those out. What I wanted to do was I needed to put this into a prefab folder, which is here. We'll just call it a manager. Bam. And because it's a singleton, I can put it on each one of my different scenes with no problems. So I think what we wanted to work on was my home scene. So if I was to look at this thing, and I can add in my HTTP manager here, and add a reference to that on my global. And now, what I want to do is take a look at my board. You have something in here for when you are creating blocking objects. So if you look at your game manager, when you are starting a new game, you are starting game. You're creating your worlds. You go to the first world here. Okay? So you have something on here called on. Here's on world object encountered. I wonder if this thing is firing yet. We'll deal with that in a minute. We wanted to look for on map event, which is here. When you go to your next map, this is where you're adding your players to your next world map. So here, when you go to your next map, then you're creating your new map, but you have something in here called a manager, called a character select, character logo, dialogue, effects, scenes. It's not that one. Just a moment. In here you have something called a helper, called an object helper. This is where it is. You have something in here called make blocking tiles. So I want to see where this is located. Are you using this anywhere else in this solution? Serializer says, dude, did you finish Alley Chat? Where Alley Chat is Serializer is I'm 2 out of 4 of the way completed with the refactor. I'm working on that off air, and I'm starting to push things out live. So I'll have libraries to you within the next 7 days. I'm learning about pseudomorphism, pseudo-randomness. I'm learning a lot about pseudo-randomness for my game. Do you know anything about pseudo-randomness, like in terms of using a seed to create randomness, or like procedurally generating, or just kind of all of it? Code conventions of both practices. Why do you use var instead of specific variable type? It takes less keystrokes. Okay. So when you're making these blocking tiles, this one says if this is a palace, you're doing something. So is this only for a palace? Hold on. It's so interesting. So if I looked here at my object helper, I'm going to move this thing over here. Because you need something here to create your make blocking tiles. So I'm going to look at my Git repository for a moment. Give me just a moment here to open up this project. Just a moment. I'm looking for the game manager. I want to track the changes that have been made on this throughout time, because somewhere in here you have a make blocking tiles. So maybe that is actually now on your object manager. So let me take a peek here at my object manager. Is a object helper inside of helpers. So let's just change it a little bit here, so I can actually detect the changes. I don't see it. No turning back helpers. Here it is. If we look at this file over time, not like that. Open with, there we go. Now you should be able to go backwards and see where you have your move enemies, make object type blocking object, get valid starting. Okay, so let's take a peek here. What I want to do is, you should here, when you are applying your mesh, you have a place in here where you're like creating items. Let me see. Under your board script, no, I guess it's under a scriptable object called board. A blocking object currently has 10 references. Most of them are here. I feel like I just need to rinse and repeat this. I'm just wondering, because you have something in here already when you're creating those items, I want to make sure I'm putting it in the same place, which is if I look at item and I find all my references on this, no, it's not this one. I did see this one, so I may need to change the name of it, but negative, that's not this one. That came out right about the time I started coding this thing, or shortly after. This thing, I need to make sure that my item in my references Make world object. Perfect. This is inside of base map. So you have one reference, which is here, called make items. Perfect. This is exactly where I want it to be. Make world object, make object. So right here, where you have a make items, you want to have another one here called public virtual void make blocking objects. Okay, so in this one, you're going to say protected virtual integer get number blocking items in map. We'll return a random.range from 0 to, I don't know, 22, or just some crap. I don't care. And so now what we're going to do is for I goes to my get number blocking items in map. Let's do this times my map index divided by my whatever. I'm into that. And then we're going to do var blocking item equals get database world item of my type. Okay. If you look at this, this is of an item type is what you're getting here. So if you were to do this again and you change this to a blocking object type, then you're going to get your database assets where this is equal to a world object. And then what you want to do is for each one in there, if it's of type blocking object and the blocking object type is equal to this one, then you want to add this cast as a blocking object. Oops. These are, no, it is. This is a blocking object. This one is a blocking object. And you're going to return this sub app set. And you're going to set this here to your grid object. So now I should be able to do a get database world object of a blocking object type, which is a bed, bookshelf, couch, fridge, kitchen, or plant. So we'll do a var random blocking type equals random.range from 0 to my block enums dot parse blocking object type dot length or something like that, or is it get names or something? Hold on. Get names dot length this is going to be a type of blocking object type dot length And then this is going to be this one cast as my random blocking type. And then you're going to do something here called make world object of your blocking item. Yeah, no, that's a different one. Okay, so I'm pretty happy there. Now let's go back to the editor. And I want to take a look at my scriptable objects. Which are here. When you look at your world objects, you have a item world object here. You need to make another one of this. So you'll duplicate it, and you're going to say that this one is a blocking world object. When you look at this, it's a type world object. Your grid items are a... When you look at items here, and then you look at blocking, I don't see a database for this. So this is a database of type item. So let's duplicate this. And bring it up here, and we'll change this to be blocking. And now we can change this one over here to be blocking. And it has 0 currently in it. And we want to add it into the interior for now. I thought I had a bunch more items already created for this. Well, we'll try these. When you look at what these are, it's not the right tiles at all. So your blocking tiles need to be recreated, it looks like. Hey there, potential game dev. Thank you for that follow. Appreciate that. If you have any questions, make sure you put them into the channel. We've got a really active and supportive community. It's my first time watching the stream, says Night Geek YT, and I haven't seen an editor part yet. Oh, okay, welcome on behalf of Robin. Thank you. Welcome. How are you doing? What I'm looking for is your scriptable objects for items look to be totally wrong. For blocking items, right? I'm just double checking before you recreate them. Yeah. So what we're going to do then is we're going to go ahead and change this interior right here. And I want to take a look at these 3 that you have. Let's look at my tile sets. Hey there, Geek, Night Geek, you two. How are you doing? Thanks for that follow. Appreciate that. Here, check these out if you guys are at all interested. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood, says Catalyst Creations. All right, see you in a little bit there. Night Geek YT. So the one that I want to do for interior, for our interior tile set would be, let's say, a couch. So this will be tile set 5. It's going to be 44, 45, 46, and 59, 60, and 61. So if I look here, this says that this is a map tile in these blocking tiles. So this looks totally wrong. I'm going to go ahead and delete these. and I want to create a new object called a blocking object tile. And we're going to say that this is a couch. Now, if I was to look at this again, I'm going to delete these, okay? Because what I want to do is I just want to take this one and I just want to make it the size of the couch. And we'll apply. So now, when I look at this, that one, 44. I want to go back to the tileset 5, 44, scriptable object. Oh, come on. We'll add in the sprite here to be tileset 5 underscore 44. My relative position is going to be, I don't know, we'll figure that one out in a minute. My number of cells is 3 by 2. And let's add that into the blocking type. And then we will bring this into the game manager, which is the, I think you had something here called databases, or if you look on your global manager, you should have something here called world objects, tile sets, items, and blocking. It's a sofa. How's everyone doing? One question, what keyboard do you use? I like how it sounds. This is a bloody keyboard. It's called Lightstrike. It doesn't use traditional mechanical keys. It uses UV lights when I hit it, so it's really feather light to hit. Okay? So now, when I start this, I want to make sure that I'm creating this blocking object here, and it should be getting me a random one. Settings received from the server, that's fine. All right, let me check it again. I'm going to attach it here to my editor. We'll run it again. Oh, I'm never calling make blocking objects, so we need to call it here. Now we'll try it again. Kilax Gaming says, hey, I started game developing. My problem is that I can't find good games. Do you have any websites that give free assets? I think you just Google search for free assets. I'm trying to remember. There's one that I can't remember the name of that a lot of people use. Somebody will put it there. Open Game Art. There it is. Thank you. Doing good. Started to learn C# and Unity, says Maxim6. Thank you, man. That's cool. It's cool that you're learning C# and Unity. Do you do any programming aside, or is this how you're get starting? So I didn't ever see it make this map. I don't see it pulling this make blocking object, so I'm going to build on it. We'll try it again. I am just starting. It would help if you attach the editor. Dev assets, I've never heard of that one. Thank you. Okay, it's attached. Let's try it again. My only fear is that I'm bad at math, but I hope it'll get better. I don't do a whole lot of math. I guess you can do some programming with a lot of math, but I don't do that. So here, let's check to see what happens. My get number of blocking tiles in the map is going to be what? Oh, that's returning nothing. So let's just do 3 for now. And instead of all this, we're just going to do a blocking item equals get database world item. And I want to do this for my blocking object type dot, and I should have something called like a couch. Which is there. Okay, let's try it again. Oh, I don't have that running yet. I got to get that back up. Okay, it says that something's null here. Because it's failing here when it's making this world object. Because it's here, I think, is probably where it's failing. Let's attach it, try it again. Yeah, that's the main application that we're working on. Nightgate YT is called Ali Chat, and it's going into production here this week, and that includes the bot. Okay, so we're going to create these blocking objects. We're going to grab one, and we currently don't have one. It never found a database type world object of type list. So here, when you got this item versus your world object, you're saying that from your global manager, you want to get your world objects, which includes a, not an item, it's a blocking world object, which has a database assets here of blocking and a grid object, which is a we'll just put couch for now. A base grid object, which is a so this thing should be a base grid object, right? This couch that you mean? Hold on, where did it go? So you're saying that this is a blocking object tile. Do you have another one in here that you can create? No, just that one. So when you look back at Global Manager now, you have world objects, you have items, but items are being held on world objects, right? Moment. So let me move this one, world objects, to here. I'm going to get rid of items from here and blocking from here. Drop this to 2. Because my world objects should contain those. And then also on my game manager, if I look at this one, I should be able to get rid of my databases here. And also here. And then also down here. Name change confirmed. Okay, no problem. All right, Coding Knight. Start player here. This should be from the global manager databases. Okay. Let's look back again. Now when I look at Game Manager, I should see no databases anymore. Perfect. And when I look at the Global Manager, I just see world objects, which is perfect. Okay, let's see why. Game Manager had an error on my... So it's still returning null, which is here. Before I go any further, let's just do this just to ensure that everything works. Since my global manager doesn't have one where it's a type of player. So let's take a look here at my global manager. And you don't, so we'll add one in here for a type of players. Okay, see you in a bit, serializer. That's working. So now, here, where you commented that out in base map, when you're getting your world item, you're saying that you want to get the first type of blocking object, and then you want to get... And a blocking object is, you're saying a... So let's just break on this and try it again. Okay. I want to get my sub-assets here. It says that I have 3, one of which is my blocking world object. If this is for each asset in this, if it's a type, it's not. This one is a, the next one here is a asset of type item. Stop this real quick. If I look back at this one, at world objects, under blocking world objects, I'm looking for the type where my grid objects here are a type of blocking object, which we're calling an object tile. Now, an object tile and a blocking object are different. So here's an object tile. Now, these are very different. So if you look at this again, this is a little backwards. If you look at your blocking object tile here for couch, this is an object tile, so this is wrong. If you look at the sprites again, you made this sprite much larger, and you don't want to do that. You want to make it right back to the size it was, because, apply that. Now when you look at your perfect, so this is going to be called, I'll set 545 right here. My relative position here will be 0, 0, 0, and the number of cells that this tile occupies will be 1 and 1. So we'll make a new folder in here for a couch, or we'll just say couch. And then I need to make a new object, blocking object called a couch. This one is a blocking object of type 3 by 2, which is a 3 by 2. It's active, it has a skin on it, and a portrait, a rarity, a placement, which will be top. We can say that we can rotate it. And it can flip. We're saying that it's a couch. My blocking object tiles are here. Now, you also have skin and portrait on it, so hold on. Because if you looked at the heredity that you have for this one, a base grid object includes a sprite and a number of skins. So that's okay. I probably should change that, but we'll leave it for now. Because I just want to make sure that this works once. And now in my blocking objects, I should be able to change that to the correct one. And then in my global, which is blocking world object, that's fine. Okay, let's try it. Okay, why did this fail? This failed on my blocking object because it tried to set the sprite renderer.sprite. Interesting. Equals blocking object.portrait. So you don't have one in there for that, so you can get rid of this. And we'll try it again. Not quite. What's the next one? Did you never create the game object here? I'm a little confused. I'm gonna attach it. We're gonna watch what happens when we step through it. Okay, this time we're going to get our first object set where we have 3. We're going to try to return here or here. And here's our sub asset, which is good. So we return our asset type, which I'm happy about. We're going to create our world object. Here, it's a blocking object. We get our starting object position, 4, 9. We get our position, our blocking object type. I'm going to set the transform, and that's where it failed. So why did that fail? Where are you creating the game object here? Right here. Okay. So then in this one, you're never calling the right class here. Your subclass is base grid object has a pool manager attached to it. So this needs to be a pool manager, which needs to be injected here. Which, when you're creating this, oh man, where did that go? Here. You need to pass in your pool manager, which is here. And now we'll try it again. Okay, let's check it again. This time, it says that the prefab for you're trying to get the one where the object type is the same. So you need to add a prefab. So that's easy. If you look at your scene, we need to create a new game object for this. Here's an item prefab. So I'm going to say that this is a blocking object prefab. It has an object on it and a sprite, which is slightly off. Oh, it's 0.5 and 1. My bad, sorry. 0.5 and 1. Okay. I can go ahead and change this to be tileset5 underscore 44 or whatever, because that's fine for the sofa. We don't have a pulsing script on it. We do have a sprite renderer. And now this, I can update it. I can delete it, and then on my game manager, you had something here called UI prefab, and you can go it's on your pool manager. You can add your prefab right here, and you can say that this one is a type of blocking object, and it is this blocking object prefab. We're going to save this pool manager and we'll run it. Now we have a sofa, which we've created, which only has one tile in it. Okay, so that makes sense. So let's go ahead and do another one. So we'll duplicate it and we'll duplicate it. So this one should be tileset 545, and this one would be tile set 546. So let me actually just fix these. And so now if I looked, these are right, but my relative position is going to be a 1, and this one will be a 2. And if I look at my couch, I can drag both of these in now for 1 and then 2. We'll run it. Okay, it's only creating the 1 tile. So if you look at your create, which was on base map, now you need to have your algorithm for creating this world object of type blocking object. You have something here on your parent called set grid object, but for which means that if you look at your couch, you have to adjust these so that it says that it's a 3232. Because it's only ever drawing that 1 tile. Now I could make it instead so that it is only, but then they don't always line up, so that doesn't actually work well. If I look at my blocking object prefab, I do only have the 1 on it, but I swear I thought I had something to draw it. So I'm pretty sure that we're going to pull that then from our game manager. And we'll rewrite it. So I got to take one more quick short break. I'll be back here in 12-13 minutes. I'll put some music on. And then when I get back, we'll finish this little thing up. We'll get a couch instantiated. That'll be our first item. We're going to have to recreate the script that will recreate it, because essentially what it is each object is made up of a number of individual tiles, and we set the placement for each tile, and then we will draw it. So stay with me. I'll be right back in just a few minutes.